The most famous paintings of Georges Seurat. In this video, we will see the most famous works of Seurat, the French artist of the Pointillism movement, most famous in the entire history of art. Sunday on the Grande Jatte. Artwork by Georges Seurat from the year 1886. No. Your screen is not pixelated. It's called Pointillism or Neo-Impressionism, and it was invented by Seurat in the 19th century. It consisted of applying the color on the canvas through tiny brushstrokes of pure colors, which the spectator is in charge of mixing on his retina. If, for example, we put a blue dot and a yellow one, our eye will turn it green. With this novel and scientific technique, Seurat shows us an ordinary Sunday on the island of La Grande Jatte, in Paris. Packed with picturesque people from the Belle Époque lounging, playing, fishing, sailing, or strolling. Although, it must be said, there are many historians who only see prostitutes and clients there, given certain symbols. The fact is that this artist goes one step further from Impressionism to show the modern Paris of the time and to convey to us that haven of peace on a sunny Sunday. All through the creative use of science, which many painters of the time criticized for its coldness. It took 2 years to paint this enormous 3-meter masterpiece. Shortly after, the painter would die of diphtheria at only 31 years of age. The Circus. Artwork by Georges Seurat from the year 1891. Paris, cultural capital of the world at the end of the 19th century. Modern city full of night entertainment. And one of the most popular entertainments was the circus. Renoir, Degas and Toulouse-Lautrec dealt with the subject, but no one like Seurat, who applied his revolutionary divisionist theory, which is based on the psychological effects of line and color, the result of the optical mixing of colors in our eyes and our brains. The color combination is the key. Seurat basically uses the 3 primary colors, red, yellow and blue, which he distributes in small brushstrokes. With all this, the artist achieves 2 juxtaposed spaces, the stage and the artists, with curved lines, stylized arabesques and dynamic spirals, and the stands, with rigid, orthogonal, motionless lines. With this unfinished painting, the painter died of diphtheria a few days later. Seurat once again unites art and science. Let us remember that at that time science was experiencing a moment of great flourishing that caused a furor because it also had a lot of entertainment. Le Chahut. Artwork by Georges Seurat from the year 1890. Seurat the Pointillist modulated light and shadow and color with his revolutionary technique of placing juxtaposed strokes of pure color. So it is the viewer's eye that is in charge of creating the image. The human eye orders the scene on the retina. Thematically, Seurat was always modern. He tried to represent the Parisian life of his time, and that included a concert in which the crazy rhythm of the time was danced, the can-can. In this riotous dance, the male and female dancers moved wildly to the music, their legs flying in all directions. The howls of amusement from the dancers used to complement the music. The painting is divided into 3 main spaces, the musicians at the bottom left, the dancers at the top right creating the pictorial rhythm and a free background at the top left with the typical decorations of the cabarets of those years. How did critics react? Well, bad, as always when something new appears. The most conservative critics always wrote continuous jokes about Seurat's work, and this meant that the painter's economic situation was never fully flourishing, which, on the other hand, and as we well know, does not have to be negative from an economic point of view. Creative. Gravelines. Artwork by Georges Seurat from the year 1890. From the creator of Sunday on the Grande Jatte comes this Parisian landscape in which Seurat once again carries out another of his revolutionary ideas on optics. It is our eye that mixes pure colors and what appears to the naked eye and up-close simple dots. From a distance they all become works of art that show everything from the Eiffel Tower to a model from the back, passing, as in this case, through landscapes such as the Sea of Calais. In Gravelines. Actually, Seurat did not care too much about the subject of his paintings, but about the technique. Impressionism had already delved into these ideas with its loose brushstrokes and bright colors, but it was the young Seurat with his neo-impressionism, also called pointillism, who began to become obsessed with the science of colors. The most hardcore impressionists like Monet or Renoir never understood this kid's art. His paintings were too mechanical, and the kid was also a bit antisocial. Apart from art, he did not care in the least about subjects that they were passionate about, such as politics, music or literature. But Seurat was always there, partying with them. And in the end, they ended up accepting it, opening a gap little by little, until the artist died at just 31 years old. Bathers at Asnières. Artwork by Georges Seurat from the year 1884. Seurat's characters are so pale-skinned, so isolated from one another, so still and mute, that we shouldn't be surprised if we discover that they are actually aliens vacationing in the suburbs of Paris. Next to the pleasant cerulean waters of the Seine as it passes through the factories of Clichy, any inhabitant of our galaxy can acquire new skin colors, play with the slime on the bottom, study mosquitoes up close, or take delicious drinks of atmosphere. Seurat's is a revolutionary way of studying and conceiving reality. The mist of delicate points in the background create a strange calm that finds its replica in the summer torpor that we see deposited on the grass, or in details such as the white umbrella of the passenger of the boat that carries a flaccid French flag, signaling to us how little breeze is blowing. The true protagonist of the painting is the young man with a shadowed face who breaks the diagonal of the riverbank. We wonder what thoughts are running through his head. Also noteworthy are the hats, distributed in different positions, shapes and colors, which contribute to creating an interesting life and balance to the whole. This was the work with which Félix Fénien, the anarchist talent scout, would begin to touch the morale of the more affluent and decadent impressionists, who with one hand dedicated themselves to painting extremely boring snacks and with the other pointed at Seurat to laugh at him. He liked Degas, for example, who had given him the nickname Notary. Seurat cared little for derogatory names. He never stopped studying color with scientific precision and putting an end, the same year and with this painting, to the last Impressionist exhibition, since the most interesting art had moved to the exhibition of independent artists. That was all for today's video. Tell us what you thought, and if you liked it, please give us your subscription and your like. This way you support the art community on YouTube. Until the next video, have a nice day.